so interesting, these Presto trucks that I just saw there. And Presto is, whatever it is there. I didn't say it out loud, but all I did was think of the adopted daughter of a cousin of mine and his wife. And her name is Gracie. And she has a friend named Preston, as I recall. And they sort of live in a very exclusive, inclusive neighborhood. It's kind of an it can feel exclusive. It's a very specific type of area, and people kind of stick together-ish, you know. So this is in Gainesville, Florida. But anyway, I thought of her last night very quickly and wondered, like, you know, if she would ever wind up married. Like, it just sort of very quickly came across. Because for most people I know, friends and family alike, the women who feel safe and secure in a house, they all have husbands. So, or have had one. Well, no, they all have husbands. Anyone who doesn't have a husband doesn't feel safe and secure in a house, able to regularly pay the bills and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see Presto, which reminds me of this person, Preston, whose name kind of came across as a potential, you know, friend, partner, etc. If I go this way. You know, odds are they probably won't marry. They just know each other as friends, but you never know. I've seen people who wind up marrying old friends from their development. But it is a thing that in at least my family, any woman who's in a house and feels fairly content and safe and secure is married and or has some sort of partner. It's really married, but I do have a relative who, I don't know if she feels secure, but she's fairly safe and stays with a boyfriend. As far as other people, single women, often, unless they grew up a certain way and have certain types of job opportunities that open up to them, maybe they feel secure, but there is a difference when you have to go it alone. You know, where I come from, the pickings were slim, so I didn't match well with the available potential options. I also, for a while, I was, you know, for 2 years I was quite heavy set. I went through Weight Watchers to lose a lot of weight, but I don't know. I never knew how to do whatever it is that wives seem to do, or at least in my mindset. And you know, I grew up a child of divorce, so I lived with my mom and sister. So I don't know. You know, I'm wondering how many women had to make concessions. I know, or men, but in my case, I have seen a couple women who put up with a lot just to make sure, you know, there's a roof over there. Actually, just one, my aunt. You know, I don't know if my aunt knew that, I'm sure she did on some level. She wound up divorced and then remarried. In both times, in both situations, I feel like she sort of put up with certain mentalities just to have that extra security. I don't know how they came along. This is also fascinating. You know, when you're older, you know, another generation, things operated slightly differently. Today, people, you know, I don't know what people do today, but I do know my aunt put up with a really bad mentality and psychology because it's reflected in her sons. And her sons, well, at least one of them, you know, professes to be better than their dad, who passed away a long time ago. But as far as I can tell, they behave very similarly to their dad. I barely see them as relatives because they're so much like the paternal side of their family, not. And I thought, God, my aunt really had to put up with, whoa, a very controlling, a certain style of controlling. It's age-old, it's in scoundrel realm. That's the best word someone came up with. My scoundrel, it's in there, whatever that is. So, anyway, that's my little talk. We got Presto. Reminded me of someone named Preston. And all I did last night was think about someone and whether or not she would find a way to get married or want to be married, and how would she survive in adulthood without a husband. And the only option that seemed viable, as far as I could tell, was her best friend, Preston. So that would be on the extremely light side of a form of harassment, if you will. I'm not sure what to call it. There's a specific word that used to be on social media all the time. I feel like social media in general has been wiped of these terms. I needed to look up those things back when I was experiencing the major, like a lot of orchestrated harassment and orchestrated this, orchestrated, you know, people were willing to act like buffoons. And it can get really weird. So there are elements that can seem like hauntings, and it's like, can someone actually do that, cause it? Or can your living places be arranged? Even if you buy a home, it could be not arranged, but rigged. It's possible. Wow, it smells like bacon from the food court there, or the food cart. So you never know. You could move into a place and it could wind up rigged. There's an old movie called The Firm. It goes way back. Had Tom Cruise in there, and he realized, he was all excited. He and his wife, they made the firm. They got, you know, he made partner or whatever. And he realized it seemed like everyone knew his business. And he realized, oh, he goes home and he turns up the stereo really loud and he asks his wife not to say anything. He's freaking out all over the place. Don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say anything. And what I experience is kind of like that. For some reason, that movie doesn't work perfectly. There's something different about the movie, but it's like that. They can hear everything you say, they hear your thoughts, they hear your this, they hear that. Anyway, I forget the outcome of the movie, but it's interesting. It's called The Firm because Sleepy's mattress turned into Mattress Firm in 2016, during campaign year.